In the previous episode, I put together Tiffany's story as revealed online, including the perspectives of the media, comments, and some of the other people claiming to have been on her flight. There may be some additional details introduced as the story continues to unfold. In part 1, I showed how the story revealed that it is an allegory for rising into Christ consciousness primarily through the etymology of her former company name and the fact that she was deemed a rising star. This comes as no surprise, as all these stories are about the same thing. But you might be surprised as to how this story unfolds. I already covered that the company that she used to work for was named Elevate Communications, which signified the leavening or ascension. It showed that this whole performance is about the ascension process, as all stories are. Tiffany was said to have been a rising star, which also relates to Elevate. The name of her own company is Uppercut, and the logo was a U with an arrow in the middle pointing upward, representing the path of the middle pillar. Tiffany Gomas, 38, boarded a plane in Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas that was destined for Orlando, Florida on July 2nd, 2023. This was the weekend of America's Independence Day celebrations. Independence Day symbolizes the day in which one becomes liberated from the strings tying one to the physical world, regaining one's authenticity, finding one's gold within. This is why it's celebrated with fireworks, to symbolize the lightning bolt of electricity that comes with the Kundalini connection within. Tiffany means theophany, epiphany, manifestation of God, and she claimed to have seen a man who was not real, which has been interpreted to mean that he was a ghost or phantom, which is also in the same category as epiphany or Tiffany. Gomas means breast, something for which Tiffany is known. Goma means rubber, as an eraser or gum or something sticky, and her story is certainly sticking. It also means joyful wife, which relates to Eve. Gom means man, and Gomez means son of man. As Tiffany is the inner son, this makes perfect sense. Vowels are interchangeable, so Gomas is also gamos, which in the Greek means marriage and lives or joining, union. Marriage refers to the alchemical marriage of the masculine and feminine within, joining or uniting the opposites, the polarities. This also represents the coming together of the two worlds, the twins, one ruled by male, the other by female, as represented in the movie Barbie. Tiffany is 38, which is 3/8, or Christ. This is also the alignment of the Sun, Mercury, and Venus during the Lion's Gate on August 8th. This is why the media brought up her story again on August 8th. Dallas means dale or valley. Fort Worth is known for its barbecue, which is linked to Barbie. Barbie is Australian for barbecue. Barbecue is also symbolic of losing the flesh, carnival, the leavening, or leaving behind the physical world. Texas means friendship. Orlando means fame or famous, and Florida means bloom or flower, which is to shine. One of my viewers pointed out that Orlando is home to Disney World, which is the kingdom of fairy tales, which is home. The flight was supposed to go from losing the flesh to the land of fairy tales, but Tiffany Gomas got off the plane before the plane reached the runway. And, as Carrot Top said in one of his videos, he missed the fireworks, meaning the Kundalini connection was not made. This is also why the plane did not blow up. On the plane, Tiffany made a fuss over losing her earbuds or AirPods. The media also made a big deal about them. What was most surprising was that there was a set of earbuds on her company website, Uppercut Marketing. This was a clue to tell you that the business is not real, and this is also a clue to figuring out the meaning behind the story. Ear is linked to corn, as in an ear of corn. Corn is kernel or cur or horn, so another reference to the pineal gland or third eye. Bud is an undeveloped flower, so if Florida represents the blossom and earbud represents the undeveloped corn or the third eye, this is a reference to the people who have yet to awaken. So in saying that she was upset over losing her earbuds, this means she was upset that the people who have yet to wake up have not done so already. They are lost. and the plane will not reach its destination, so they will never wake up or bloom, which is why Carrot Top missed the fireworks. Bud is also linked to inoculate, because to implant a bud into another plant means to inoculate. Bud is also an eye of a plant, so this is a direct link to third eye from OKW, which is to see. Earbuds were also referred to as AirPods. Air refers to the obvious of the atmosphere, but also to rise, as in leaven, to breathe. Air is also a reference to Aquarius, a fixed air sign, as we are entering the age of Aquarius. Aquarius means water bearer, ruled by Saturn and Uranus. It rules the 11th house, which is friendship, or Texas. So Texas is actually a reference to Aquarius. Aquarians have a rebellious nature, which Plain Lady certainly does. Tiffany was also on an airplane at an airport to emphasize the air sign. Pod is a seed vessel or a husk. It also means detachable body of an aircraft. Pod is also foot or ped. The foot is the sole or the soul. This is why Cinderella wears the glass slippers, or Dorothy in Oz and the many women in Under the Silver Lake wear silver shoes. There have been a variety of explanations or assumptions as to what Tiffany meant by not real, ranging from ghost to robot to alien to reptilian. Ghost links back to Tiffany, as I already stated. Robot and alien are essentially the same thing, as they both mean slave. Alien simply means strange or foreign, which also connects to Barbie as a strange or foreign woman. This is the divine feminine Kundalini energy. Reptilian is also a reference to the Kundalini, as it is the serpent energy buried in the base of the spine. I mentioned in one part that the Anunnaki are commonly linked with reptilians, which has more to do with them being the shining ones. Anunnaki, literally translated, means those from heaven to earth came. This is why they are often called the fallen angels, but this simply means that they have fallen in consciousness, not that they are evil. The Anunnaki are us. We are the shining ones, and we forgot who we are. This is also why the Cole Show stated that he was trying to shine a light on how gullible we are to believe these fakeries. The code was shine a light. Many of my decodes feature the message of Shining One, because when we make our inner Kundalini connection, we become a Shining One. The plane never took off. It was taxiing to the runway when Tiffany demanded they stop the plane, and she was the only one who got off. Tiffany insisted that the plane would not reach its destination. It wouldn't reach Orlando or Disney World, the land of fairy tales, because she lost her earbuds. The ones with the potential to see have not yet awakened. They're lost. Tiffany was met at the docking gate by the airport police. The police represent the red and blue of the duality realm, which is the Ida and Pingala. If the Kundalini connection was not made, then the police can easily bring one back down to earth or the physical realm of duality. The gate was numbered A9, which is 19, or the Sun Tarot. It's also AI, which could be a clue to say that this entire event is AI. So Tiffany got off at the Sun Gate portal, which means she reincarnated and came back to Earth. As Tiffany comes from the world above, you can see that this plane was the red sky world, or the world above, which is why the gate number is in red. We will see later that Tiffany is surrounded in blue when she appears again in the airport at the end of this video. Blue symbolizes the blue sky world. Regardless of how you see it, she's coming from one world to the other through reincarnation, as getting off the plane symbolizes leaving a plane of existence or death. Getting off the plane doesn't necessarily mean exiting out of the system. There was a man in the airport Tiffany was accused of assaulting. Others claim that he was the man that she was referring to as not real, and that's not true. He said he wasn't going to press charges, but then he also asked, what does assault mean? This is a clue that you need to know what assault means as well, because assault is to hit or cause bodily harm, which connects again to punch, which connects to Tom Cowling, the boxer, but also to uppercut, the name of her company. It's also linked to vault, which is the fornix. And to invasion, as in alien invasion. He didn't press charges, and charge is electricity. There were no charges because the connection was not made. Tiffany was found outside the airport and pressured by police to tell them how she was leaving. She said she was leaving by Uber, which means over and above. This links back to the name of her business, Uppercut Marketing. A cut above and uppercut represent the upper world. Tiffany came in through the sun gate or the solar pillar. I think this saga is showing the story of the divine feminine and her journey from one world to the other in the infinity cycle of reincarnation. She starts out as toxic Tiffany, then reincarnates as demure Tiffany, and the cycle continues until she chooses to exit out as the divine feminine after merging the two in the end. The first of the videos to be released after this incident was one from the Cole Show, which stated up front that it was not true. Cole is short for Nicholas, which is victory. The Victory Project was the name of the project the men worked on in Don't Worry Darling. Victory is about awakening the people to exit the system. Coal is also derived from charcoal, which is carbon, or cole, C-O-L-E, which is cabbage, and trickery or deceit. This is why the Cole Show was the one to put out the false story of seeing a reptilian on the plane. He's tricking you. Saint Nick or Santa Claus will give you a lump of coal in your stocking if you're bad at Christmas. If you're good, you will receive gifts. A lump of coal refers to the ash that will result in failing to allow the sacred secretion process to take place. The stocking represents your spine, and the gifts are the blessings you receive via your cerebral spinal fluid down the spine. Tiffany's scene on the plane was compared to the film Final Destination. Several points from that film line up with Tiffany's story. Both of them switched seats, and this proved to be a big deal and a troublesome moment for Tiffany. She said, "I switched seats with him, which seemed to be a good idea at the time." And in the movie, two girls asked Alex to switch seats with them. Alex means defender of man. Switching means to turn on or off, as in an electrical charge, like switching a light on or off. Seat means the seat of the soul, which is the pineal gland. Alex and Tiffany both switched seats, and this started the whole event. This means that the pineal was activated. After switching seats, Tiffany lost her ear pods, which are small white plastic things. Alex in Final Destination pulls off a small white plastic thing that holds up the dinner tray to the seat before him. And this was a trigger for both of them. Alex had a vision of the plane exploding, while Tiffany claimed the man next to her was not real and that the plane would explode. Both of them demanded to get off the plane before the plane even reached the runway. They were both treated with hostility by the cabin crew and taken off the plane. Alex is dragged off much like Tom Cowling was on his flight, which I'll get into in the next video. In Final Destination, we also see a young woman leave the plane voluntarily, and she's dressed in all black. This woman represents Tiffany. In both cases, someone stood at the window looking at the plane, insisting that it wouldn't make it to its destination. The only difference is that the plane in Final Destination actually blew up. One of the other passengers stated that Tiffany tried to get back on the flight and she was stopped. This doesn't make any sense. In the film, the female teacher tries to negotiate with the flight attendant to get back on the plane, and she's denied. Instead, a man goes in her place. Tiffany then disappeared for quite some time. No one had heard from her for almost a month. Her disappearance was later explained that she was on a cruise. This gave her the time she needed to reinvent herself. No one could find any information on Tiffany, but suddenly Twitter knew all about her. Her name was released along with photos of her and the name of the company she owned, as well as her former employer. The way in which the media handled the dissemination of information on Tiffany Gomas was unusual. Typically, the media knows everything about people involved in these types of stories, and they get it out up front. If people on Twitter could find out who Tiffany was, certainly the mainstream media with their infinite resources could have found out much sooner than they claim they did. The media didn't come out with this information until August 7th, a month after the original incident, weeks after it was revealed online. The media even went so far as to show a photograph of her home. It was also unusual for the media to expose someone like this. There was really no need to do that, and yet they did. Why? Then the police report was released, and because it came out independent of the body cam footage, it only caused additional confusion as it contradicted the stories that were shared on social media. This report seemed unrealistic and untrue. Why would Tiffany freak out over a man stealing her ear pods? And why would she call him not real? However, once the body cam footage was released, this statement proved to be true. The media had already demonized Tiffany as being drunk or crazy, and now they made her out to be a rich, spoiled brat who threw a temper tantrum over a set of ear pods, costing people time and money in unnecessary delays. Yet even in the body cam footage, she is seen insisting that the plane would not make it to Orlando and it would blow up. The manner in which the details of this story were trickled out over an extended period of time, combined with the confusion added by those claiming to have been on her flight, comments from everyday people, and the alt media perpetuating the rumor of her having seen a reptilian or something similar, made it impossible to know what was true and what was not. This was the whole point. It made no logical sense for her to get that upset over losing her ear pods, yet that story proved to be true. There was little emphasis put on what she saw or the fact that she insisted that the plane would blow up. The focus was on her mental state, the lost ear pods, and her calling her seat partner not real. The media deliberately made an ongoing saga out of the plane lady, and they deliberately resurrected the story on August 7th, the same day the Maui fires started in Kula, the heart of the island. Literally. A well-known TikToker came out with a story about Tiffany a few weeks later. Because she was well known, it cast doubt on the authenticity of her story, which still has yet to be validated. She said Tiffany was on a cruise, which means to travel from place to place. This is symbolic of Tiffany crossing over from one form to the other, or reincarnating. She also said that the man next to Tiffany told her that he was going to take the plane down. But that didn't line up with Tiffany saying that MFer is not real. So why not say that he threatened to take the plane down? The sheer number of unanswered questions and ongoing confusion was what was driving the story. If you recall, in the beginning of COVID, there was an ongoing campaign titled "We're in this together," which meant we are in this to get her. This is the her they were referring to, the divine feminine. Tiffany's not literally the embodiment of the divine feminine, she is the screen version or world stage projection of her. The Daily Mail is the one that released the story on Tiffany August 7th, showing photos of her house. The house has a lot of windows, much like Alice's house in Don't Worry Darling and Barbie's house, which is open for all to see. Her home is a white house in Lakewood, Texas. Lakewood refers to the water within the spine and the living waters within the central vortex of this world. She lives in the White House or the Lighthouse on its shores. She represents Venus, the divine feminine, the light within. She is a manifestation of God. The first time we see her after her alleged disappearance, Tiffany is pictured in the doorway wearing black and white, representing duality. She's shown behind glass squares representing the prism of cubed consciousness or this time-space reality. She's also reflected in the window like a mirror. Mirror, mirror. She has come back to this realm to repeat the story all over again, and this is the beginning of the story. She is stuck in the cube again. The reflection in the glass also shows that this is part of the illusion, which is why she doesn't resemble the woman on the plane. When we first saw Tiffany, she got off the plane wearing a black top. She was feisty and stood her ground. She refused to be intimidated by the men who stood in her way. The man on the plane, the police, the passenger in the airport. Tiffany was demonized, made to look bad, like a spoiled brat or mentally unstable or drunk. Then after some time had passed, she reappears in a white top on black, looking quite different. She's all smiles and later issues an official apology in a video in which she's demure, calm, apologetic, just a shadow of the woman we saw on the plane. The apology was for her behavior, not for her claims or for leaving the plane. In fact, she still stands by her decision to get off the plane. She said she didn't need to make a scene. The fact that she did make a scene also goes to her character. The plain lady did not think twice about making a scene. Apology woman is ashamed of it. Tiffany Gomas didn't just change her appearance, she changed her personality. The plain lady was someone who would not submit. You could say she's Lilith. She represents the toxic feminine of the red sky world above. The apology Tiffany, however, represents Eve, the woman who was made to keep Adam company, the submissive one. This is why plain lady wore black and Tiffany wore white on black. It signifies the flipping of the yin-yang duality. The mythos surrounding Lilith is that she's a night demon. The Bible mentions the name Lilith once as a noun, not as the name of a person, meaning night demon. This also relates back to ancient Sumerian texts in which the name is associated with water spirit, serpent, and the zoo bird, or the Anzu. We know that the serpent is the Kundalini energy, which is why it is found at the base of the tree. The zoo bird, or Anzu, was nesting at the top of the tree in the head. Lilith was linked to the owl because it's a night bird nesting in the tree. The night is nooks. And where else is the bird found nesting but in the fornix? It is the bird's nest where nooks is hiding. It's the dark light within the head. Lilith is not an evil demon, but like Tiffany, she was demonized because she is the enemy to the ego. In Under the Silver Lake, there was an owl lady killing people, such as the author who told Sam about the codes. The owl's kiss. Owls are known for wisdom. The kiss is what wakes us up. Athena was also linked to the owl. There's a relief of a woman from ancient Sumer with clawed feet and two owls next to her. And this has been linked to many gods, such as Lilith, Ereshkigal, Inanna, and even Athena. Inanna and Ereshkigal are known as sisters, but they are merely forms of the same divine light within, Venus. Ereshkigal lives in the underworld, and Inanna went down to see her. Demon is a spirit or jinn, which is genie or genius within. Genius is the inner generative power or God within. This is the G in Freemasonry that lies at the heart of the square and compass. The square and compass represents the XX of the IXXI. It is the hidden gem in the eye, the Gemini. Regardless of the names you give her, she represents the two versions of the divine feminine that must merge. For an excellent demonstration of this, see Netflix series Black Mirror Season 3, Episode 4, entitled San Junipero, in which two women meet within a simulation, a black girl representing the whore and a white girl representing the Virgin or Madonna. Merging the two is symbolic of accepting the whole of who you are, the good and the bad, but also merging your lower carnal self, your current incarnation, with your higher self, and ultimately your true inner self, your archetypal self. Tiffany reincarnated through the Sun Gate solar pillar in order to help those who have yet to awaken. I see this as something of a foreshadowing or warning of what is to come if the divine feminine does not choose to take the middle pillar to exit out. The reason she got off the plane was because she was still attached to the outcome, and she wanted the people who had not yet awakened to wake up. So she came back. She came back to help them. However, Tiffany has to exit out or the cycle will keep repeating. Tiffany released a series of photos on her new social media accounts, and I'd like to talk about a few in particular. There is one in which she sits on the floor of her kitchen in front of a stove, and behind her, on the wall, are stars. Tiffany herself is a rising star. The stars are surrounding the vortex, the fornix, which is the stove, and she's home. In the second image, she's wearing a hat. Notice the squares on the floor for the checkerboard of the IXXI grid, and behind her are a variety of hats, a wall of hats. The text says, "Hats on, girls." The hat refers to the Mad Hatter. The hat is the disc of the zodiac. Putting the hat on the divine feminine means that the feminine is taking over the disc. There's a third image I'd like to refer to in which she wears a Maui t-shirt saying, "Our aloha never dies," and there's a Union Jack on a striped flag. The O in aloha is a heart. The Union Jack represents the unification of the two realms, and the heart in the center of the aloha represents home is where the heart is. The fact that hello and goodbye are the same word and it never dies refers to the reincarnation loop. Aloha represents more than just a greeting, it means respect and love for one another, to live in harmony with everything around you. Aloha connects with gamos, meaning marriage. It also connects with United States, Independence Day, the gem, and generative power. All of these reflect the separation and reunification of the masculine and feminine. In this CGI image, she's in a restaurant with all her female friends. Behind them is a yellow submarine contained within a glass aquarium. We all live in a yellow submarine. This is our world. In her most recent video, Tiffany appears once again at the airport, caught by TMZ. This time she's said to be traveling again, yet she has no luggage that's visible and no handbag. This could represent that she's free of the physical. She has no baggage, nothing material to hold her back. She stands in the airport surrounded by blue. There's blue signs and there's blue lights, which I think links to blue things don't burn. The blue things don't burn because you've connected your heart with mind. The blue is the throat chakra, or Mercury. Mercury is also the third eye and the mind. So Tiffany is now standing next to the green exit, which is heart, the only door that leads out of the reincarnation system. One can take the red exit or the green exit. She's about to take the green exit. She wore her hair exactly as she had on the plane in the original video, and she wore a similar top, but in a different color. This time it was brown. Brown means to shine. Her makeup was just like it was in the apology video, so it seems that she has merged the two versions of herself. The toxic, aggressive, plain lady of the upper red sky world merged with the demure, divine feminine of the lower blue sky world. This merging is what triggered her ability to exit because it shows that she has merged her lower self with her higher self, merging the two worlds. Tiffany also stands before the baggage carousel, all of which are empty, and there are not many travelers behind her. This could suggest that there's not many people to come with her. The numbers of the carousels are 23 and 22, which has already aroused some speculation as to its meaning. 23 has been a recurring code in various films, also tied to 9 or September. Many of these films and TV shows associate September 23rd with the end of the world, devastation, or waters. 9 represents consciousness. The waters represents the cerebral spinal fluid. When you meditate and you let your eye be single, your whole body fills with light. And there are 23 pairs of chromosomes. So when the Kundalini connection is made, you become anointed or Christed or kinged, and you become a shining one. You die to the physical and are resurrected. The physical you no longer exists, and your body fills with light. Your 23 pairs of chromosomes are now shining with Christ consciousness, and you are a shining one, an alien, a reptilian, an Anunnaki. It is the end of the world as you know it. 22, which is also seen in Barbie as the door handles to her home. There were 2 B's, and B is the second letter, so 22. 22 is also V, V for victory. The V represents home or the vortex. This is why Tiffany stands at the green exit, heart. Home is where the heart is. She's going home. This is why she's ready to fly again, ascension. The song in the background is I Know by Dion Ferris. I know what you're doing and it's not going to work this time. This could be interpreted in any number of ways, so I'll leave it to you to determine what's being said by it. She's here to wake up the ones who have the potential to rise, the budding eyes. Since she's about to take the green exit, means she's done her job and the people woke up. It seems to me that this event is showing the journey of the divine feminine in her split form, the Madonna whore, or Lilith and Eve, or Erish, Kigal, and Inanna, as she perpetuates the reincarnation cycle. This cycle is also about the separation and reunification of the divine masculine and divine feminine. This vicious cycle perpetuates until the divine masculine and divine feminine exit through the heart and the worlds come to an end. This is why Tiffany's story happened within days of Tom Cowling's story, and the two have been associated with one another in the media. Tiffany is the divine feminine, and Tom is the man with the potential to rise. Tom is Atom or Adam. We'll get into Tom Calling's plane story in the next video, but Thomas means twin, so he represents the male-dominated twin world to her female-dominated world. His flight was parallel to hers and happened 2 days earlier on June 30th. June 30th is 666, so his plane represents the lower realm and hers the upper realm, hence why her company is named Uppercut. Tiffany's flight was on July 2nd, 2023, which is 777, representing heaven. The reason they both freaked out over seeing something not real is because they saw each other on the plane. I don't mean this literally, but allegorically. The upper realm is externally dominated by toxic femininity, and the lower realm is dominated externally by toxic masculinity. This is well represented in the movie Barbie. The story of Tiffany and Tom, as revealed through the coincidences in the movie Final Destination, is a reflection of the one story. Alex, meaning defender of man, is Tom, and the girl in black is Tiffany. Both get off the plane, which later explodes. For the plane to explode, both must unite, symbolized by them both exiting the plane. The finger of God touches the finger of Adam. The plane represents the earthly plane, and it blows up because the story has come to an end. Tiffany insisted that the plane would explode, but it didn't. When Tiffany made the decision to get off the plane didn't blow up, and Carrot Top, whose name means pineal gland, missed the fireworks, so the connection was not made. Tiffany means manifestation of God. The entire story is a manifestation of God. Not just this story, but Tom Calling's story, the Maui fires, and Barbenheimer. These events are revealing God. We're in this to get her. We must connect with the divine feminine, and she must reunite with the divine masculine to exit through the heart together. When Tiffany got off the plane, she was in the terminal. Terminal means death or end. She looks through a window at the plane, which represents the corridor between worlds, as shown in my video, The Key, where the man and woman unite on the red carpet. This is the Zeus Canal. This is similarly shown when Tiffany is in the restaurant with the yellow submarine behind glass. The TikTok lady said Tiffany was on a cruise, which meant she was in transit or crossing over, as in between lives or between worlds. Tiffany was between worlds when we first saw her appear in her home wearing both black and white behind cubed glass, showing her in the glass prism at the core, signifying the start of a new world. When she first spoke as Demure Tiffany, she apologized, looking polished and composed, which was a stark contrast to toxic Tiffany in black, who was on the plane spewing profanities and telling police to get the F out of her face. Tiffany's latest appearance shows her at the airport once again, but this time she's ready to put an end to the reincarnation cycle, which is why there's a blue recycling bin next to the door, and, having merged the two versions of herself, she stands next to the green exit about to leave. In the next video, I share the story of Tom Calling's flight and how it is connected to Tiffany Gomas' story. If you like this video, please show your support for my channel. Like, share, subscribe, comment, contribute. Thanks for listening. Hope you're having a great day. Bye for now.